So originally I started off as an amateur boxer. So as an amateur, I was fighting sort of every second weekend, at the very least once a month. So it was very, very active. When I turned professional, fights started slowing down and it was kind of just training and training, and then nothing was sort of coming up on the horizon. So in the beginning of 2013, my trainer at the time had suggested that I start cross-training and adding wrestling and jiu-jitsu into my training. And by April, I was matched for my first pro MMA fight. It kind of just goes from there. I just was using MMA fights just to keep active between my boxing fights. The goal was obviously just to continue my boxing career. And so to be honest, so it was 2013 I had my first professional MMA fight. By 2014 I was signed with Bellator, and it wasn't until I was flying over to my first Bellator fight in 2015 in May that I started thinking maybe I should take this sport a little bit more seriously and stop considering it as my second sport. Not long after my first few Bellator fights, I fully transitioned over to being a professional MMA fighter, and that being my full-time sport.
Can you talk a little bit just about what training at Jackson Wink has given you most, and what's been like the biggest takeaways you got from being at that gym?
It's definitely elevated me as a fighter. I've been there now for the last few years full time. Obviously training still home in Australia in the off season, but then when I have my fight camps I go over to Albuquerque. But the knowledge between the coaches there is absolutely insane. Like sitting down with Mr. Jackson and watching him break down my opponents and giving me my fight plan for each fight is something definitely very special. And the same with Coach Wink. What I work with him with my striking, I know that whatever they tell me to do and I put that into play, it'll get the results that I need. But obviously my teammates too, very, very grateful to have a strong team like the JW team. They're all rooting for me and they support me and help me heaps throughout fight camp.
Great, thank you so much.
Next question, Amina Yunus.
Hi Arlene, I'm Monik Yunus from Combat Worlds UK. Of course, this is a rematch for you with Sinead. How do you feel this fight is going to be different, especially in front of the hostile Dublin crowd?
For sure. Irish crowd is definitely going to be behind the hometown girl, but 7 years since we last fought, that's a lot of time for both of us as athletes to evolve and grow. So it's exciting. Last time we had an exciting fight for the fans, obviously threw down for 3 rounds with 4-ounce gloves on and basically made it a boxing fight. But like I said, 7 years, credit to both of us as athletes who are, older now, that we've stayed in the top of the division for all these years and get a chance to rematch and fight again and showcase how much we've grown over the years. So as always, I'm ready for wherever the fight takes me, prepared for whatever comes. So it'll be an interesting fight, and obviously waiting for my hand to be raised on Saturday night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anik. Next question, Anik.
Arlene, I'm wondering, you represent Australian MMA. There's a lot of great history with Australian MMA as of recent. Who's your favorite fighter from Australia besides yourself?
I'm going to have to go with one of my teammates, Alex Volkanovski, not just because he's a phenomenal fighter, but he's an awesome person and human being as well. One of the guys that even when I'm in the gym and he's training to defend his world title, he was always there to help me in my fight camp. To take away from what he was doing, he'd always help me in any way he can. He's definitely, I love his style too. The way he just puts everything together and transitions from sort of one thing to the next is just like a little energizer battery. But to get to train with him alongside him when I'm back home in Australia at Freestyle, just his work ethic and he's a machine.
Well, I appreciate that answer. Now, I saw you did go do some training in Bangtown MMA. I'm wondering, who did you train with, and what was that experience like in Thailand?
Awesome facility at Bangtao. The purpose of me going over there was to train with the Hickman brothers, Frank in particular. I did a lot of work with the wrestling component. Obviously, everyone knows I love to strike, but my wrestling is something that I've worked a lot on over the years to improve and get better. So went over there for a couple of weeks to train with Frank and George and the team. They have an awesome facility over there, people from all around the world. The humidity killed me, but it was great. I started fight camp over there. Actually just made me sort of remember how tough those couple of weeks were because, like I said, it was the beginning of fight camp, so it's cool to see, it was 14 weeks ago, how much fitter and stronger and how ready I am right now coming into fight time.
Well, I really appreciate the time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Next question, Andrew Benjamin.
Hey Arlene, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
So I gotta ask, it's been it's been a while since you two fought Sinead Kavanagh.
7 years.
How do you see this? How do you see this match going in your favor? And what are you planning on doing? Maybe without asking your game plan specifically, but differently, I'll say, compared to the first fight.
Well, I look at. We fought 7 years ago, so 2017. And yeah, what I was doing in my training back then compared to what I'm doing right now, and also who I'm affiliated with coaching-wise, teammates and preparation for this fight, I know that I've grown so much as a fighter. So I'm a lot more well-rounded than what I was back then. I still had a good fight. I believe it definitely wasn't a split decision, but so I'm prepared for wherever the fight takes me this time. So it may not just be a boxing fight. I know I've got some goals inside the Bellator cage when it comes to wins and the way I want to achieve those wins. But yeah, like I said, it's an MMA fight, so wherever it goes, I'm ready. But I'd like to tick off some little goals that I've set myself in particular for this fight.
Speaking of going where the fight goes, I know a lot of fighters say that. I'm curious to know, is it hard? So when you're going with a game plan, is it sometimes hard to deviate from that game plan when you have to, when your coach says you have to during round 2 or round 3, despite training specifically for a fight a specific way?
I guess the beauty of training at somewhere like Jackson Wink with fighters from all around the world with all different skill sets. I'm used to jumping into sparring sessions with people who push me, to different lengths, taking me to wherever the fight may potentially end up. So I think most of fighting is being able to work things out on the fly, and that's a dedication to your training as well, that you are prepared to be able to fight like that. I know that I don't want to go into this fight overthinking anything or overthinking what I plan on doing in there. I fight the very best when I just go in there and just I'm at ease and I flow. So I've prepared, and every scenario is like sort of been dealt with in my training. So wherever it goes, I know I'm ready.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next question, Luke, MMA Unhinged.
Hey Arlene, Luke from MMA Unhinged. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So I got 2 for you. I'm going to start off. It's no secret you're going to be fighting against a hometown girl. I know it's no secret that you fought away from a long way from home. But when you're facing a huge crowd like a crowd in Dublin there, how do you keep yourself composed and focus on the fight when you have that noise and all the people going against you?
Yeah. I work a lot with my mental coach, just as much as my physical coaches. So obviously the mental side of any sport is a huge thing. We've prepared early on in my fight camp for obviously the noise of the Irish crowd and it definitely not being for me. But in these sort of final weeks coming into the fight, I'm just had prepared for my walk out and being in the zone myself, and that completely zones out the crowd who won't be going for me. So yeah, I'm just focusing on myself at the moment, which will be walking out. I've got my fight song playing that gets me in the zone, focused on what I've got to do inside the cage. So it'll be tunnel vision, which just blur that out. And you know what? By the end of the fight, let's hope I've got some of that Irish crowd going for me.
And you've always had your own signature fight gear, but it looks like you're wearing a little bit something different today. What are your thoughts on the new Bellator fight kits?
You know what? I was super bummed to not have my trademark top and skort. That, you know, I've had AO fights back home in Australia making my fight gear throughout my whole Bellator career. So, but you know what? This is the end of an era. We've got new things coming on now that we've merged with PFL. And to be fair, I actually really like the kit. The white looks really good. Takedown, I've done an awesome job. It fits really well. So I'm happy with it. And like I said, new era, and I'm all for it.
Thank you for taking the time, and good luck in your fight.
Thank you.
Last question, Gabriel Gonzalez.
Hey, Arlene.
Hi.
Hi. It's been quite a bit since your last fight. I'm just wondering, physically, how has the time off helped in terms of recovery, all of those little nagging injuries that fighters accumulate, and everything else?
Yeah, 14 months to be exact. The longest time in my career that I've had a layoff. So it's been a long 14 months, and testing at times, because it's that constant motivation of getting to training. I've been training the whole time. I didn't have any time off. Keeping motivated, and as I said in the previous question, the reason I started MMA was because of the long time between competitions. So I haven't liked it, but it's only made me hungrier, and obviously coming off a loss from my last fight, I've been wanting to rectify that. So I'm as hungry as ever. The rest probably has been good for my body. I did have to clear up a couple of niggles and stuff like that, but I'm feeling good right now. I've been through a tough, long camp, and my body's feeling good. So, yeah, I'm ready for Saturday night, and hopefully I won't have as long a layoff between my next fights.
And then I wanted to ask your opinion on some of these potential fights that we've heard thrown out there for Bellator/PFL. Just your thoughts on Cyborg versus Larissa Pacheco, and potentially Pacheco versus Leah McCourt.
I'm all for it. I think the Cyborg and Pacheco fight would be awesome. It's a long time that the champ's been sitting on the sidelines, so it'll be cool to see her back in the cage. And the more fights between all these girls, the better. I'm one of the top girls that are still ranked in the division, so throwing some names up in there too. I haven't fought Leah McCourt yet, so we'll just see what sort of happens between the two. But I'm very interested in the Cyborg and Pacheco fight. That would be a cool one to see. But I also did see that Bellator had announced the McCourt and Cyborg fight. So she's been sitting there waiting for that too. So the sooner those fights sort of happen, the better for all the girls that are involved.